All right, all right. Happy Thursday, good people. How are you? Tara and I are here. We are so excited to be here with you all.
So
And
excited.
Tara, the link should be active now. If you want to share the live, you can go on to either my profile or the Bootstrap Dreams page and share
Let's
the
just,
live.
let's do that real
Let
quick. Thank you
let's do that.
so much for having me.
I am so
I am
excited to have you here.
I am so excited to be here. I hope I can share some knowledge tonight.
No doubt that you will. I mean, listen, you are here to talk all about the knowledge, all about people, all about
That's right.
strategy operations and how it really helps you boss up and makes things happen. So
Yes.
let me, I'm having tech issues here, people. I know the live not working. Work with
You
me.
just hang in there.
Let us
It
know that
never
you're here.
works.
I
It
don't know
never
what it
works when
is.
we need it to.
No.
Hi, Bailey.
Hey, Bailey. Let us know that you're here. And Tara, I've only got one scripted question. Everything else is going to be real live talk. We are having the conversation. So you've heard this before, and I'm going to ask it today and every Transcend talk
I love
from
it.
here forward, unless the good Lord tells me to change it.
No, I love that.
When you hear the word transcend, what comes to mind?
So for me, it just means surpass. Like, but it doesn't even just mean surpass. It means like exceed expectations. I
Mm,
mean, and when I think of it, it's weird, but I think of like ejecting myself,
uh huh.
forward with whatever. I'm sorry, I talk with my hands a lot too.
Oh, me too.
Um, but just going beyond, overcoming, but really just moving forward and surpassing whatever expectation may have been there, you know?
Yes, I love this because you know, like I share my story and I continue to talk about it and I will continue to talk
Mhm.
about it. Right?
Absolutely,
Because
as you
I mean
should.
that's what we do. That's what we should do, and it's who we are, right? When people
That's
are like,
right.
"Where do you get this information from? Where do you get this knowledge, this experience?" And I'm like, "It's from living." And
That's
Lord willing, I
right.
still have so much more to live. And when you talk about, you know, going forward, when you talk about achieving, when you talk about, pun, transcending above things in leadership, particularly, which is why I'm so excited to talk with you because of your background. We have so much in common when it comes
Yes.
to, government experience and, you know,
Mhm.
that whole transition into full time
Yeah,
entrepreneurship from that after so many years. Like it's a strange transition.
it very much is. But I'm thankful to be surrounded by so many great people like yourself because they're difficult days.
Yes, there are. If we're
Yeah.
being honest, and I continuously have to remind myself that I have the autonomy, right? To do my
Yeah.
day the way I want it to be or the way I need it to be, or just
Yeah.
different things because you get so used to doing things a certain way.
Yeah,
Um,
and for me too, I worked so many hours a lot of the time. Like I have to change that mindset that I don't have to work those many hours anymore. And
or work more than those hours.
or yeah, exactly. And it's really hard because as you told me last weekend, you were like, "Do not redline." And I thought, "She's right." But I go right back to that immediate like that's what I expect. I always expect the gold standard. I want a great product to put out there. And so
Yes.
therefore, you know, it's kind of in our nature, I think. And so I really have to reel that back in, you know?
It's very much in our nature. There's just a standard that we want to operate with. And literally right before hopping onto this live, I was on a wonderful phone call with a dear friend and sister of mine. She has her company. I'm gonna Melissa White. You all may know her. The
Okay.
Activation Hour. If you haven't checked it out, check it out.
I'm gonna write
And
that
we were
down.
just talking about how using our voices, right,
Hmm.
to be helpful, to help people transform their minds, their hearts, their spirits, their lives, to share more awareness. And sharing
Hmm.
with her how raw. right? How raw of a platform this is for me. This isn't something that,
Yes.
like, do I do public speaking? Yes. Do I do workshop facilitation and all those things? Yes. Do I like to hop on other people's platforms and guest speak? Absolutely. That's the best, right? But when it came down to doing it myself, it wasn't something that I totally planned, right? Irony, project manager. It was one of those things that I kept hearing a voice enough,
Yeah.
and then I started getting restless and losing sleep about
Hmm.
it. And it was like, I got to find a way to do this, and in a way that will be easy for me to commit and follow through with, but that will
Yes.
absolutely open doors for other people, that will allow other people to speak, and that it won't just be me talking, you know? So I thank you so much for the opportunity to be here, for choosing to join me on this live, and to share your knowledge, your expertise, and the friendship that we have established over the past couple of months. It's just been a beautiful experience knowing you, Tara. It really has.
I feel the exact same way about you. And, I think that your honesty, your transparency, and your openness is really, really what we need more of. You guys hear
Mm,
me probably say it way too many times, and I would preach this to my staff. Genuine, authentic relationships are so very important. And if we had more of that, we wouldn't have a
hmm
lot of the issues that we have in the world. I mean, it spills over into every part of your life. And
Every part.
so, I love that you're doing this because you're giving not only a platform for yourself, I mean, and that's not what it was for, but for so many to share their great knowledge and their great experience with others.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you so much for having me.
It matters. It matters. Reciprocity. You know what I mean? Like,
That's right.
there's room. There is so much room. There's nothing. I can't possibly do it all. I can't possibly have it all. I can't possibly
No,
capture it all. You know what I mean? Like,
that's right.
there's more than enough room for each of us to operate in our area of grace,
That's
or as we say
exactly right.
in our consulting and coaching world, in our zone of
Mhm.
genius.
Yes,
Like,
because we're all different.
we're
You
all
know, we,
different.
hmm
We're like genres of music, right? There's an
that's right.
audience. There's an
We
audience,
all
and
bring something different to the table. That's another thing that I love is that collaboration. When you bring so many great minds together, there is nothing that you can't accomplish.
there is nothing. And I just want to
Nothing.
acknowledge some of the people we have in the chat. Hi, Bailey, Sandra, Ananya, honey, Maurice. Oh, Maurice has a question for us. I'm going to answer that in just a minute. And Tara might have an answer for that too. And then over here on Bootstrap Dreams, hi, Laura. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to have you all here.
Thank you
Thank
guys so
you. Thank you
much.
so much. So, Maurice has asked, do you believe in having a regular sleep schedule? Now, I am going to tell you my whole truth.
I don't know if you want my answer.
Listen, I've had to learn. I've had to learn the hard way the importance, right?
Hmm.
Not that I never knew sleep wasn't important, but being on a regular sleep schedule. And then to go further, getting on a sleep schedule that was conducive to the lifestyle that I have right now. Because
Yes.
I'm a night owl. My daughter is a night owl. We get our best win after 11 p.m. I mean, we listen. We
Mm.
we are like, what? Let's do it. Let's go. Let's get it. She's got her Legos. I got my notes app, and we are, I mean, Canvas open, and we are
I love it.
thriving. But it's Tuesday, not
That's
Friday,
true.
right? And
Now,
it's
do
like,
you guys
this is
sleep in, I hope?
no, we have virtual kindergarten to do, right? So, and then that's the other factor, doing this virtual
Hmm.
kindergarten, right? Process, going through this
It's so
process, this
hard.
experience. It's not like, what I used to be able to do is if I did work a night shift, no problem. I could take her to care, come home, crash for a couple hours if I needed, get back up and do it all over again.
Hmm.
Well, I can't do that now. Right, I've got to be up in the
Yeah.
morning because she's got to get up in the morning and do it. And for most of the people, they're like, "Yeah, that's what we do," But it's like I'm no longer in that, I'm no
Yeah.
longer in that in space that required me to do that. So I was operating in my autonomy and in my flexibility. But once she started kindergarten and a traditional schedule came, and then the
Hmm.
monopoly of time came into play, I said to myself, actually, let me wind back. My mother and my god sister, they're probably watching or will be logging in shortly. They were like, Tawana, you gotta do better. They were like, you
Yeah.
you have to do something differently because, baby, you're tired. We see it. We see you're tired, and it's just you. It's all on
Affects
you at
so many
home.
things.
You've got to
Yes.
do something differently. And it took us 4 weeks. It took us 4 weeks to get on
Mm.
a regular sleep pattern, but we are thriving now. Let me tell you how good we're doing. We're doing so
Awesome.
good now. We are in bed, like Bailey's in bed, no later than 9:15, right? Again, for me, that's
Good.
great because it used to be like midnight 30. Okay.
Wow.
And me used to be like 2, 3 a.m. So she's in bed by 9:15. I literally have an alarm. As soon as she's done
Hmm.
with bedtime routine, I go ahead and start getting myself. So I'm in the bed by like 10:15. I'm still not falling asleep till a little bit close to 11, but I'm
Hmm.
getting up at 5:30 and I'm motivated because I'm getting
That's
2 hours of
wonderful.
uninterrupted work done before I wake her up and start her day. So when I choose to cut off, at 5:30 in the afternoon, I'm okay. I'm not beating myself up. I'm not thinking
Yeah.
about all the stuff that there is still to do because I have maximized my time now more than I have in a long time. I'm not going to say than ever, but more than I
Hmm.
have in a long time. And this regular sleep pattern, to go back to the
Yeah.
question, this regular sleep pattern, and this discipline that we have implemented, and she has been so on board with it. God knew exactly who to make me the mother of. She's been so on
Yes.
board with it,
He
and she's
chooses
waking
them.
up. She's waking up before the clock goes off. She's waking up before I come in to get her, and she's waking up smiling. She's waking up rested. She's waking up excited and ready for her school day.
It's
And
so
I
wonderful.
know it has a lot to do with us being more rested now, because neither one
Yes.
of us, we in the morning like, good morning.
And I'm the type like when I get up, I'm like, I want to talk. How did you sleep? Let's have a cup of coffee. And my husband's not a morning person, and he's like, please don't talk to me. And I'm like, you didn't sleep well? What's wrong with you? And I would do that too when I went into my 9 to 5. I would always want to visit with everyone, and no one wanted to talk.
Oh,
Yeah,
so I was
I
the
was that
person in the
person.
office. I was the
Yeah.
person in the office that was like, give me till 10:15. Like, let's not have any thorough conversations until
And that's so funny. Another thing, I was always like the one, like, aren't you just glad to be awake today? Aren't you just glad that the Lord gave you another day? Like, I was
I
just
am.
excited.
I
But
was, but I didn't want to talk
most of
about
the
it until after.
That's how some of them. And when we would travel, the first, like hour or two at 8 to 10 a.m., they would be like, I just don't want to talk. Let's just be quiet on the road. And I would be like, this is so awkward for me,
Oh my
because I
gosh.
definitely like to talk. So,
That is
yeah.
so funny. All right, so let's get into this topic, Tara. All right, so matching up to your vision, right? Through networking and collaboration. You are a huge proponent, a huge advocate, an ambassador, dare I say,
Yeah.
right? Strategy, operations, networking, and collaboration. Absolutely finding the benefit of your people. Now, I know you all are literate and can read, but Tara, introduce yourself to the people.
I'd be happy to.
Let them know some of the goodness about you so we can talk about this topic and why you're here and why it's so important when we talk about being in leadership, right? Everybody wants to be a boss. Like, that's kind of
That's
how I
right.
kept headlining our talk today. So you say you're a boss, but what would your
That's
people
right.
say when bosses day come
Exactly.
around?
Yes,
Do you get any acknowledgement?
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and I actually really did think about that. Like when I did become a boss, I thought, I had had so many different experiences that there were things that I wanted different in within my
Mm-hmm.
staff. One
Mm-hmm.
was communication. I wanted the communication to be open and again honest and transparent. I wanted them to know that I valued them. I would
Yes.
spend time with each one of them every single week, just, collaborating with them, hearing what they had to say, just really valuing them, always encouraging them for professional and personal development. Like those were the things that were extremely important to me because I wanted them to remember that one day when I wasn't there, that I was a really good leader for them, And so
Yes.
I always led by example. There's never anything that I haven't done myself that I would ask anyone else to do. Matter of fact, I've been If there was an event and I needed a janitor, you know what? I would sweep with the best of them. Like it didn't matter. No
Right.
one, there's nothing that I can't do, you know?
Yes.
And so I would always really teach my staff that, and it's something that I've always lived by, you know? Um, there are so many different things, but my name's Tara Argo, and I live here in or I say here. I don't know if there's anybody else here from Oklahoma on tonight, but I was born and raised here in Oklahoma, and I grew up in the rural part of the state, and I went to the University of Oklahoma. My degree's in journalism. With an emphasis on public relations, so I tend to be more of the speaking type versus necessarily the writing, and so I've done tons of community relations and stuff across the state of Oklahoma. I was the education director for a statewide organization where I did K through 12 energy education initiatives, provided STEM materials across the state of Oklahoma,
Uh-huh.
providing millions of dollars worth of equipment for teachers. I know that education is very, very important to Juana, and I've had several conversations on this. Um, and all the terrible things our education system's really up against across the country. And so I'm a strong advocate there. But we wanted to provide our teachers here in the state of Oklahoma with materials that they needed to teach our kids. And um, so I've done that, and it was extremely important to me. I've spoke all over the state, had the opportunity to impact. This was the other thing, what you were saying about being a good leader. When you're speaking and you're teaching kids and you're leading, you know, people are looking at you, whether you realize it or not. They're watching every step that you take. And when I went to leave my 9 to 5, I had so many people contact me. I had no idea I had impacted so many people. And it blessed me. I was so humbled because again, you don't know what people are looking at when you're leading. You always lead by example. And
Yes.
and so I always really do encourage that. And also I can't ever forget that I have an amazing husband that is so supportive of me. I've been married for 14 years and I have a 6-year-old daughter. And so I'm doing virtual homeschooling with her as well. But I had a volunteer speakers bureau where I would send volunteers out into the classroom to teach kids. So when you're impacting 40,000 kids with free field trips every year, you're doing all these really, really amazing things. you know, it's hard not to be a good leader and to set a good example because these kids are watching too.
Yes. And there's one topic, and I'm so glad it was brought up. Maurice, you want to hop in the live because you're on it, right? So he asked the question. Well, actually, he made the comment that he feels a real boss produces other bosses, creating gateways for other
Agree.
entrepreneurs. 100%. Listen,
Absolutely agree with
all
you.
about eagles, right? Eagles flying with eagles. Eagles will lower their wings to boost you up to the
That's
next
right.
level, right? A leader is not in it just for him or herself, right? And
And
that's the
if you
thing.
are, you're not a leader. You're
You're not you
absolutely
Sarah,
right.
go ahead and take it away
Sorry.
because no. Don't be sorry. That is exactly why we're having this conversation. You and I
Yes.
and everybody in the chat that has so much value to add to it. Because a lot of people think that managers or management and leadership are synonymous. And they are absolutely not
No.
synonymous. You can be in a management role and be a piss poor leader, right? You can and
Yeah.
you can
Oh, it
be
happens all the time.
right, merciless, right, just dogged. You don't know how to talk to people, right? You don't have any grace for people. You aren't as articulate, you aren't
Right.
organized, you don't give people a chance, right, to work in their gifts. That doesn't make you, just because you're in a management role doesn't make you leadership. They are
No.
not synonymous. And anybody who doesn't agree, that's your opinion, and I'm gonna have mine about it. And it didn't.
You are so right.
Right,
You know,
and yeah, go ahead, Tara.
No, I just wanted to piggyback on what you just said. That's absolutely right. And like even when we would look at staff and hiring, like I would always look for those members. I want them to be as passionate as I am. You know, I want them to learn so many skills that they're moving on to bigger and better things. When you're a leader, you want what's best for that person, you
Right.
know? It has nothing to do, and I wanted them to know that I believed in them. that they
Yes.
meant something, that I cherished I mean, when I'm asking you to work 16, 80 hours a week sometimes, I want you to know how much I appreciate you, you know?
Right?
And so, no, you absolutely said it right. There's so many managers and leaders out there that just they don't care. And I have a real issue with that. That is I couldn't live like that. My integrity is very important to me. My professionalism extremely important. And so I just wanted my staff to feel that same way. I wanted them to see that passion in me each and every single day.
Yes. Yes. And also recognizing that every job matters.
Absolutely.
Every
Doesn't
job
matter.
matters. I don't care what level the job, I don't care what pay grade the job. It would if it didn't matter, it wouldn't exist. There would not be a
Agree.
cost allocated to it. Every person that fills a role within your organization, within your
Mhm.
life, within your if you chose it, it must be
Exactly.
important, right? And so I really think as leaders, it is a part of our not only our responsibility, but we are accountable, right? Once we decide to step
Mhm.
into that role, that calling, whether we applied for it or we were qualified for it by grace, when we choose to step into it, we are now accountable, right, to everything that comes with it, and everyone will encounter through it. And we have to, like you said, have our integrity. We have to be willing to ask others to do what we are willing to do, right?
That's the key. Yes.
What we are willing to do. We shouldn't
There are
ever
so
think that,
many that don't do that.
oh, absolutely.
I
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important for us to talk about, yes, we're speaking to a lot of employee specific things, but even in entrepreneurship,
That's right.
right? All the more. Some people might be doing things for you because they're obligated to do it out of necessity, right? They might need the
Mhm.
paycheck or something. But as
That's right.
entrepreneurs, and for those of us who are still in the solopreneur stage, collaboration,
Oh,
collaboration, right? Relational currency is so significant to how we thrive and not just survive in
I uh,
business.
that's exactly right. And it actually to me may be the most important thing, to be really quite honest.
Mm,
Um, because it can be really lonely, when you are that solopreneur, because, I came from having, I had staff, I had a team, and then you're on your own. It's time to figure it out. But I will tell you one thing, the good thing about that is you need to know your business inside and out anyway before you ever give specific, certain portions out or hire it out.
mhm.
Because if you don't know how to do it, you can't train anybody to do it.
Right?
Right. And so, especially because I like things done a specific way. So,
Mhm.
therefore, if I don't know how to do it, then how am I going to train them to be able to carry out whatever it is that, that I need them to carry out? But you're right. And it's very, very important relationships, those genuine and authentic ones, as you're building your network.
Mhm.
I know it seems like, it's harder to do, or maybe you're an introvert and it's just not really comfortable, or maybe it's a little awkward. Just look at it as they're just like you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, my favorite thing to do, the very first, and Cheryl, I see Cheryl's on here. Hi, Cheryl. Cheryl and I worked together for years. And
Yay!
whenever I would tell people, they'd say, well, how do you just talk to everyone? And I'm like, because I genuinely care. Like, I want to know about them, right?
Right,
So
right.
the very first thing, and if a lot of you I've had coffee chats with, I'll ask you, where are you from? I
Mhm.
love to know where people are from. I love to make those direct connections with people, because once I find something that we have in common,
Mhm.
that we'll never forget that, and people then begin to trust you. They then begin to go, wow, she really does care. She wants to know about me, not just on a superficial level. She's truly
Yeah.
concerned about, X, Y, and Z, you know?
Yes, and we have a question in the chat, and I just asked for a clarifying response so that we can respond to it. Thank you so much for your activity in the chat. Um, so one of the things that helped me succeed, absolutely, right? So as a project manager, we don't always have a formal authority, right? So we get
Mhm.
assigned to a team, but that doesn't mean we become the boss of the team by authority. However, we do have to lead the team into an effective strategy, right? That we're
Mhm.
going to see through from beginning to end, and getting to know people for who they were, not just what they did, made all the difference. Because a lot of times people are
Yes.
voluntold to do these
Mhm.
initiatives, right? We in the government world we talk about initiatives,
Yes.
and they're voluntold to do them. And so you have to really identify the with them factor, right? Because they're
Mhm.
looking at it like, why am I here? I got all this other stuff to do. Here's just another assignment thrown on my plate. Why
Yes.
am I here? And we have
Yep.
to identify for them and help them see the big picture as to why they are a critical and
Mhm.
core component to making this a successful endeavor, right?
I agree.
So, really getting to know people for who they are and talking to the person first and not just asking for the result that's needed makes a difference.
Absolutely, and I would even ask you, did you when you were in this when you were in those positions,
Hmm.
would you identify the people's strengths and put them where you knew they would be most successful? I would
Absolutely.
do that constantly. I would look at the
Absolutely.
staff and go, "You know what? She is really, really great at project management. I really want her to do this, I want to add this to her plate."
Yes.
I'd always really look because in the end, I want them to enjoy what they're doing too,
Yes.
because I mean, obviously you're going to work harder and and that sort of thing, but it really boils down to, again, when you know your people,
Hmm.
you know what they're good at and what they may not be good at, you know?
Yes. And so and you have to ask yourself, right? So like in order to lead, right, you have to know who you are. And
Mhm.
you have to know who you are not so that you can understand how to lead. And then you have to, it's good to know. I'm not going to say you have to. It's good to know personalities, right? So there are so many personality profiles
Yes.
that you can take that may help you understand another personality so that you can work with that person from their space, right? Work with that person from their momentum, from their mode of operandum. Why does this person need the data in a spreadsheet, and why does this person need the data in an
Mhm.
executive dashboard? Why does this person need
Yeah,
just a voice memo, and why does this person need a checklist? You like everybody functions so differently.
they
And
do.
in leadership, knowing personality traits and being willing to let people rise by allowing them to use their strengths,
Mhm.
that's the benefit. So when you talk about, some leadership factors, like when you think
Mhm.
about leadership factors for yourself, what was some of those core components that you deployed or exhibited that you believed help you be successful in your strategy, operations, networking, collaboration experience that led you to so many phenomenal
Mhm.
roles, positions being sought out, right?
Mhm.
For your voice, your presence. What were some of those things that you think led you there?
I think a lot, and when I was, thankfully, whenever I was leaving my 9 to 5, Tawana was so great. She said, "Make sure that you have people write recommendations for you on your LinkedIn." And I hadn't really even thought about that. I had worked with so many people over the years, but what I saw throughout that, in reading those, is one of the biggest key words was passion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really carries a lot, because when people know your passion and they know your drive and your willingness to learn and your again, that integrity, that work ethic, the professionalism, all of those things kind of set myself apart. I always, always, always wanted to set myself apart, whatever I was doing. That was my goal, was to make sure that they knew I was a hard worker, that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't get into the gossip within the office or whatever the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
I was always going to be the leader. I was going to be the one that people hopefully would come to, and
Mm-hmm.
they knew that I wasn't going to tell whatever it was. I was always going to be that transparent person that people could come to. But I
Mm-hmm.
would say probably that bringing people together, I heard that a lot too. I love to network. That's probably one of my most favorite things, and I think that's the reason I was so successful in the industry that I was in, which was the largest industry, well, one of the largest in the state of Oklahoma. And
Mm-hmm.
it was my ability to really network and get to know people and pull them in. I needed to get business and industry involved in education. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that, just that gift, I know that that's a gift that God's given me. And so I want to use that to
Yeah.
help others. And I would say with that coupled with the passion and that drive and just that love
Mm-hmm.
and that genuine and authenticness, I think
Mm-hmm.
really is what has helped me through the
Yes.
years,
Yes.
you
And there
know?
is room for that. And so we got the clarifying. So the original question was, what is the most difficult mindset you had to change to get you over that hump that help you excel? The example was separating the friendship that you've built, right?
Mhm.
And not settling for leeway, separating your kindness from the stern mindset to execute your business, balancing the morale. You answer that first, Tara, and then I'll follow up with an answer that I have, if assuming it's not different or if there is anything else to add.
Um, Goodness, that's a tough one. I would say that I most of the time to I so I always kind of set myself I as the boss, like I didn't want to delve into the friendship side of things. I was
Mm-hmm.
taught when I first came in to really, when you're leading, you don't need to be going on the weekends and hanging out and doing all these things because then they look at me as a friend and then there was a loss of respect there. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I always kind of had to set myself, and not get involved in some of the other details because I think then they thought, oh, well, she's just like us. Maybe you know what I mean? Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
It does
And
make
so
sense.
I always wanted to lead by example, but I wanted to do it in a kind and loving way to
Mm-hmm.
where they knew that they could come to me for anything and I would value anything they had to say. But I couldn't participate in some of that other stuff because that would then make me not that leader. I don't know if that makes sense. And maybe
It,
they can
it
clarify that.
it makes sense to me in the sense of what we call fraternization, right? So there was
Yes.
there was a differentiation. There was a bit of a space factor
Yes.
that you found it was important to put in, right, in
Absolutely.
your particular environment. And let's be clear that this is environment specific as well, right? And it's
Agree.
personality specific, because I've had multiple of what Tara has expressed, and I've had some very wonderful experiences that were the opposite, where it was like we were at boss's house on holiday having crap, seafood boils, and
Mhm.
everybody was bringing the potluck and whatnot. But when we got into work, it was business.
It was
And the
business. Yep.
difference was none of us were confused about the expectation, right?
Mhm.
So when the expectation is set and we hold one another accountable to it, right? We don't say, "Oh, it's okay this time." No, it's not okay this time because it won't be
No.
okay next time, right? These kind of things compound. It's what my friend I have a friend and I say, "Ooh, slippery slope." Right?
Yes.
It compounds. And so what you have to do is we can be friends, right? Because you can't, as humans, we're created for connection. We're created for
Absolutely.
interaction. You have to have healthy boundaries. Rosalind Henderson would appreciate that. You
Mhm.
have to have healthy boundaries, and you have to have clear expectations.
That's
And I
right.
think for me, that's where my face, right? My face always has always been youthful. So people would always be taken aback when I step into the expectation factor when they thought it was just time for a slippery slope. And then also, I have a sternness about me. I'm very
Mhm.
smiley. Sternness about me though. When I go into business mode, I don't want to say business isn't fun anymore because it's still fun because it's super passionate for me. But know that I am not
Mhm.
playing, right? Like I am so
Yep.
sincere about everything
Yes.
that we are doing, everything that we are talking about, everything that we are expressing, because there is an outcome that needs to be achieved, not just any outcome, but a desired outcome. And the only way
That's
we're going to
right.
get to it is if we all do our part, right?
That's right.
We all have to do our part. And so having healthy boundaries and setting clear expectations and I in love. You don't have to be ugly. You don't have to
No.
put people on to do people up to it. So and let's see.
Can you hear me?
I'm gonna do a refresh. Hang in there. I can hear you fine, Tara. Hang
Okay.
in there. Let me
Okay,
see if
now
I
I've
can
got
get
you.
the chat back
You
up.
are preaching
Okay.
like I think we would have worked well together because that's exactly how I was. It wasn't that it wasn't fun, but I'm very black and white. There is
Mm-hmm.
really no gray for me. Everybody's treated the same. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but I expect the same every single time because if you give leeway one time, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for
And
me, I had to have those. It is black and white. This is the expectation and the outcome better be the gold standard. So,
absolutely.
you know,
Whatever it takes. Whatever it
whatever
takes. And
it
there were
takes, we're
times,
getting to the end.
yeah, there were times where I had leaders that would be a little bit more friendly, if you will. Yet
Hmm.
when it came down to certain things, down to the standard, came down to the earning, when it came down to whatever criteria we needed to meet, it's like, oh, okay, if you want to take time from me now, that's fine. But
Hmm.
you will be expected, right, to make up that difference, whatever that difference needed to be. But it was also a gift in flexibility too. Sometimes
Yeah.
in leadership, we could get so rigid that
Yeah.
it does take away people's willpower to want to work through, especially times of difficulty. So having that friendship, having that rapport, but having clear boundaries and
Hmm.
expectations will solve a lot of those
Yeah.
wavery things that come about. You just won't have them happening. Let's see.
That's right.
We have
Yeah.
let
And
me
your
make sure to
employees
find
know
it.
that you love them and you care about them, I mean, that really does make a huge difference
Huge
in,
difference.
it really does.
Oh my gosh. So share more about, because again, you've had a variety of experiences,
Mhm.
in your leadership. What would you say are some things that you found, especially on this end, coming out of it, that you
Mhm.
found are absolutely important?
Again, relationships. One thing that I will tell you that I have really been a little disheartened to see, and it's probably because I ran workshops and
Mm,
I wanted my teachers to know that when they left there that we treated them with the utmost respect and professionalism and they were valued and I feel like I don't see as good customer service. That
mm-hmm.
client experience to me is kind of lacking and I've seen it a few different places and it's so disheartening to me because again it all boils down to relationships. If
Yeah.
you can't build a relationship and you aren't genuine and authentic, you're not going to sell your services, and
Right.
then you're not going to have a business. So it is that whole spillover effect. And so
Mm,
I think that those are some of the things that I've really noticed coming out,
mm-hmm.
that and maybe it's just that it's not, and again it's probably because of my background and my experiences that I expect this very very high level.
Yes.
And I said hopefully one day when I grow a program, like these are the things that I'm going to do. And so I make notes, these mental notes of like this is what I want whenever it's my turn, and
Yes.
I think of those things because I want every single person that works with me to walk away and go,
Keep going.
Tara cares about me. She knows that she wants my business to be successful. She's
Right.
there for me no matter what, you
Yes.
know? And so I want them to walk away with that feeling that I am there, that I am on their team, that,
Yes.
and that they're valued.
Yes. I am trying. I don't know why my tech is not cooperating over here. The live, I can see that the live is still going. So I'm checking for any additional comments that may have come through on the phone. Um, Laura said she's run into the lacking of customer service. And Marie said he was just about to ask a question pertaining to relationships. And oh, he said I was always stern. So we go back to college. So he's known me in a former life.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
I may have always had a stern side about myself, but I can't say I was always wise to use it in the right way. So thank you for sharing that. I'm hoping I can get these comments back up on the screen because I can't get the voice to stop. You might hear the echo of our live through the live stream. But what is something else that you want to share about, you know, just the strategy behind people being an asset? Like
Mhm.
I like to say, have a wisdom economy in your
Mhm.
business. Whether you're an employee for yourself, right? Whether you're employing other people for your own entity or for another entity, have a wisdom economy. What does that mean, Tawana? That means don't separate your human capital from your financial capital,
Right there, that's the ticket. Right there.
right?
That
We
that that's it.
as companies, you talk about making money, making money, making money.
That's all it's about anymore, though.
But if you don't treat your people right,
That's
listen,
right.
happy people treat other people well. And in
That's
business,
right.
happy teams, right? I don't even just want to say employees. Happy teams, whether you're collaborating, you're in a partnership,
Mhm.
or you're networking, or you're employed by somebody, you're independently contracted by somebody. Happy teams will take care of the customers, and the customers will take care of
Mhm.
their responsibility of continuing to be your customer.
That is
Whenever,
exactly yeah,
right?
that's exactly right.
Go on.
And I think that, we have gotten away from that. So it's very simple. This is my biggest thing, guys. It's so simple. Be human. I was just talking to Tracy yesterday. She said, "Tara, people just need to be human." And I said, that it's so simple. Like I almost feel like it's overly simplified, but if people would just care. That's it.
Mm-hmm. That's
Care.
it.
I mean, and I feel I'm almost like I'm not even going to give this big revelation. Like it's as simple as the golden rule. You treat people the way you want to be treated. You always know that they will never forget the way you treated them. I
Right?
could speak on like the love and joy that I find in getting to network with people and collaboration. When I'm talking to people, I love to think outside the box.
Yes.
I'm always, always, always thinking about how could we potentially do something together? What
Yes.
did they do that maybe could complement mine? Or maybe we could come together and produce some sort of a mastermind group, not a group, but a collaborative that can be out there for people to just educate them. Again, I'm kind of an educator type. So for me, it's very simple: care and be
Care.
genuine. That's the other key. Be
Yeah.
genuine.
And you know how we do that, right? And we're all human, so we do fall short sometimes.
Of
We have our
course.
moods, we're in a funk and whatnot. And I know one thing I've learned is to just not take stuff so personally, right? Like if I,
Yes.
as an entrepreneur, if I approach someone and I get a no, it's not about me. They don't know me
Mm-mm.
enough. They're not rejecting me,
That's right.
right?
It's sometimes
They're
hard.
rejecting.
Yeah.
Right, it's sometimes hard, but what they're rejecting right now is that what I have available for them either isn't relevant, so I
Hmm.
didn't do well enough, right, to find the right person, or it's not pertinent for their life, or they don't see it as an opportunity for them right now, right? But
That's
it's
right.
not about me, the person, right? And so that's one thing, that everything has to start with ourselves first.
That's
And
right.
so when we
Hmm.
first manage ourselves and manage our own expectations, we can do a better job about walking in that, or walking that out, if you will, with
Hmm.
others. I'm not going to say for others, because I can't live your life, Terry, right? You can't
No,
live mine. But
no,
we can do better about walking out our parts, you know,
that's right.
with others, when we are first accountable for ourselves, and first accountable for our mindsets, and first accountable for the role and responsibility that we have
Hmm.
committed to, right? Because even though we say, "Oh, I didn't ask to do that," yeah, but you're still in the position. You can always resign
That's exactly right.
from employment, self or otherwise.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? We can always choose to be re-employed by somebody,
Hmm.
or we can choose to employ ourselves, right? So we always have the choice.
We
Or
always have a choice.
situations. Yeah,
Hmm.
we put ourselves in circumstances and situations that make us feel otherwise, but we know our feelings aren't always facts. So
That's
Cheryl
absolutely
said caring is a big customer service requirement, a big
agreed.
life requirement, and that is absolutely true. Like how we interact with
Hmm.
other people, learning their their language, dare I say love language. I know some HR professionals might cringe,
Yeah,
right? But we're not talking about, a romantic intimacy, but we are identifying what do people need to succeed. And
that's
as
right.
leaders, we have to know, like Bailey Maldonado, she may still be in the chat. Bailey is so awesome at
She is amazing.
capturing her processes and systems, right? So that way she can remove herself and allow the next person to be elevated in that action,
Mhm.
right? Like she's so good about just, and it doesn't have to be all super fancy. And that's one thing that I'm reminded about by her. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be this big thick document of something. Bullet point.
Yeah.
What are the next natural steps that a person would need to follow to take action? Right? So that if you have to walk away, if you need a break, if you have a family matter, if you take it a vacay, someone can
Mhm.
come in, right? Have a collaborative workspace where someone can come in and fill the gap. It's not about taking your place. Because if they're great, like we talked about at the top of this talk, as a leader, you're rising other leaders
That's
anyway.
right.
I want people to come into my organization. Like I have an agency model mindset. It's so funny. I always say we, and I'm so used to
Yes.
having a team, right? I have an agency model mindset, and Bootstrap Dreams will absolutely be an agency. I'm claiming it. I'm confessing it.
Oh, me too.
And
I'm saying the same exact thing. I'm like, there
you
is
know,
no way that I can do
there's
everything by myself.
there's no way. But
No.
it's wonderful when you create the space for someone to come in and thrive, right? And they're
That's
able
right.
to walk into the vision and buy into the vision and fulfill the vision and then launch their own vision
Mhm.
because of how much room you've made for them. That is the most wonderful thing, I think, as leaders
It
that
is.
we can
To
do.
watch them blossom, my favorite thing is to watch them, to look back and go, "Look at all that you've accomplished." You
Yes.
know? Like,
Yes.
that makes me so excited each and every day, you know?
Yes. It's amazing. So let's see. We have when you care and are genuine, do you think it can cloud your judgment when someone may be wasting your time, or do you feel it can be a lesson learned? What do you think about that, Tara? I'll read it again. When you care and are genuine, do
Mhm.
you think it can cloud your judgment when someone may be wasting your time, or do you feel it can be a lesson learned?
I think that again, I think this is a gift that the Lord's given me, but I have a pretty good intuition on people. I can almost immediately peg them pretty quickly.
Hmm.
But not everybody can do that. So I think that what's it gonna hurt? In my opinion, what's it ever gonna hurt to be truly genuine and
Yeah.
truly care? It's not gonna hurt anything, you
Right.
know? So in the end, if you learn something from it, in my word, chalk it up and go, great. I learned a really good lesson from that. But as you learn, I too believe at that point, you're going to recognize that the next time and go, you know what? I kind of remember, I vaguely remember this happening, and I'm
Hmm.
not going to quite go down that same path. So I
Hmm.
think that you do learn over time, and that's probably where, some of that intuition comes in, but also just I've learned over the years, if people truly are a good person or if they're really just taking advantage of my kindness or, my heart.
Yeah. And I'd like to piggyback on that, you know what? Me being kind, my mom alarms. Me being kind and genuine, right? So I have to answer to my person. I have to answer
That's right.
to my character. And again, I'm not perfect. I am not
Oh, me
perfect.
neither.
and
By
and
far.
the woman that you all get to see here on Transcend today, well, the reason why it's Transcend is because I have come up out of some mess. Okay. And I'm sure I will step into some more mess, just as my grandmother said, keep living, baby. Just as
That's
sure
right.
as I am given the gift of living, I will make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
But being kind or being caring or being genuine, if someone wastes my time, if someone takes advantage, they're going to get theirs, and I'm not going to have to do anything
That's right.
for it to happen, right? I'm not going to have to do, the blood will not be on my hands. The karma will not be on my hands. The energy,
Couldn't agree
the
more.
listen, I have to be responsible for me. And there was a quote that I read. recently. I can't remember the source of it. I'm so sorry. But it basically asked, it was a devotion actually, and it basically asked, what will be your story?
Hmm.
Right. And so when I'm encountering people, again, I'm not perfect. But overall, when I'm encountering people and they walk away from me, it is my hope that they will say, hey, there's something about that Tawana. There's
Yes.
just something about that Tawana. There's something about her energy, or I feel affirmed after speaking with her. I feel uplifted after speaking with her, or I may even feel. I would even want them to say, I feel convicted.
I
Like
love that.
I can do better. I am worth more. I
Yes.
am the, I want to speak to people in a way that helps them recognize their importance, that recognizes their worth, that recognizes that, you know what, that did happen. That absolutely sucks. We're going to go
But
ahead and
it does
acknowledge
not
that.
define me.
But it does not define you.
No,
It does not define you. You can go forward. And people that want to keep you in what was, leave them there.
that's right.
You owe it to yourself, and you owe it to whoever you're accountable, you have a responsibility for and are accountable to go forward. You're worth that. Go forward.
I
So
agree.
yeah, I don't worry about people, wasting my time or taking advantage, because I have a part in it too. And like you said, I have to use discernment. And
Yeah,
sometimes I may not get it right, but I have to answer for being me. I don't
that's
have to
right.
answer for them being who they were supposed to be, or
And I actually
should
got
have been.
chills when you were talking. Like, I love to hear you talk because I feel the same way. I mean, what you're saying too, for me, at the end of the day, I want people to walk away and go, she is somebody different. She has so much passion. She just cares about me. It's just different. And that is how I've always lived. I've always wanted to be that one that they remember. But not in a non-humble way. I mean, it's
Right.
truly because I truly just care. But
Yes.
and hopefully my other goal with that would be that maybe I planted a seed. You know what? If they did take advantage of me, then I hope
Uh-huh.
to God one day that they can look back and they can go, wow, you remember that time she said that?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it'll change their life somewhere. And again, it's not through me, it's only through the Lord. So, whatever it is, I hope that will help them down the road.
Absolutely. Now, y'all, I know we went so long on this live. I usually try to
Sorry.
no, don't be sorry. I got on my little band where I love talking about leadership and
Oh,
business, and
I
oh,
do too.
that is just an element that I absolutely love to operate in, and it's always a pleasure when we share we have so much in common, so we understand.
We do. We
We
do.
understand the language and the experiences. But I want to make a couple of announcements, y'all. We got, so this is one live. Oh, see, it's mom time. So
Oh,
this is one live where we've got some announcements to make. And Tara, I definitely want you to let us know how we can find you when we hang up from this live. I want you to put
absolutely.
your links in the chat so people can find, are you in Argo operations? But
Great.
before we
Thank
do
you.
that, I want to say that this talk has its first sponsorship, and it is by Impact Clinical Strategies Consultants.
Hey.
A masterclass is happening, you all, and you are going to love it. If you are in the medical field, if you know any graduating NPs, are you a pediatric NP who is
Mhm.
soon to graduate, or do you know of one? You need a roadmap from commencement to contract and beyond. Want to know how? Join a free live masterclass Wednesday, November 11th, hosted by Ananya Data, the PNP, to find out more. I'm going to drop the links in the comments so you guys can
Wonderful.
register, refer it to your friends. This consultant, let me
Absolutely.
tell you, she is about her business. You don't want to miss it. I have personally seen her growth, and she's got so many years as a PNP and has been absolutely amazing as a clinical consultant. So if you know somebody in nursing or is graduating, pediatric NP, get them on this free masterclass. It's going to change their lives. It's going to absolutely
Awesome.
elevate them to the next level. So thank you so much, Impact Clinical Strategy Consultants, for this first announcement.
That is so exciting.
Isn't that
Congratulations to
exciting?
both. That
Next
is
time I've got to do it
wonderful.
at the top, in the middle, and the end,
Oops.
right?
Hey, it's
And
all a learning. I would be happy to share that though to my network as well.
please do. And the next announcement is, are you guys ready? Are you guys so ready?
No,
I'm so
yeah.
excited. Are you ready, Tara? So guess what? And you know, because you've been on my journey with me, and it's
Yes.
been an accountability partnership that we've been having. And so I am hosting a mini workshop
Yay.
next week. And it is all about new consultants, coaches, and strategists, right? Business advisors of all kinds, learning how to package your expertise, launch your service offers, and get paid your worth. Woo! I am so
Well, I'm
excited about
telling
this,
you,
y'all.
it's
So
so,
excited. So if
so needed.
isn't that needed? So if you felt
Yes.
like it's been too hard to build your confidence, prepare and take action and achieve desired results, head on over to the Facebook group, Results Driven Strategies for Women Creatives and Entrepreneurs. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Once you guys have
Wonderful.
joined me, it's going to be a 5-day challenge all next week. We're kicking off Monday, and we're going to talk about clarity, confidence, and commitment to getting things done and not getting stuck in overwhelm for thinking too hard and wasting too much time to try and get them perfect. Okay. So the
And you are
consult,
so great that you're just going to be bringing it. And so, if anybody is listening, you need to be there. I can promise you. She has been coaching me over the past week on just another project, and she asked me the tough questions, and I am so thankful for you.
yes, we are going to do it. This is raw. This is uncut. This is the first time I am hosting this particular event. So
So
if
exciting.
you are a new consultant, if you are a coach, if you are a strategist of some kind, and you're like, how do I price? How do I package my service? How do I deliver it? Come on in. Come on in. Get it while it's happening. Get it while it's raw, uncut, and new.
Absolutely.
It will absolutely serve you. And I'm not just tooting my horn. It has been validated. We have been doing this behind
Over
the
and over.
scenes, and I said, you know what, this is a need, and it's going to help them, and it's also going to help me. So come on and
That's right.
join us over there in the group. And so, Tara, please let us know how we can find you,
Absolutely.
Argo Operations.
Thank you so much for having me. And I hope this was helpful for so many out there watching. And, if there's anything that I can do for any of you, obviously I'll put my information in the comments and then reach out. I'm happy to help in any way. That is probably my love language too, is I want to help. I want to collaborate. Let's do the thing. Let's make change. Let's be the catalyst.
Absolutely. I love it.
So
Thank you so much
thank
for
you so
sharing this
much.
hour with us, Tara. Really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. All right.
I
Remember,
appreciate it.
after the live, put your links in the chat.
I'm going to on
All
it.
right.
Thank
Thank
you
you
guys. You guys
so
have a
much.
good night.
Good night.
Bye bye.